Hi everyone, I want to welcome you to my design studio. I am Kat, and today I'm going to be teaching you, this is the last tutorial on doing the Dragon Wreath tutorials. I already have two out there previously, one on how to do a green dragon, one how to do a red dragon, and today we're kind of taking it to a different approach, and we're going to do an ice dragon. So if this is your first time joining, welcome. Let me know where you're from. I'd like to say hey and see how far our reach is actually growing. If you are a first-time viewer, if you guys can do me a favor too, so you don't miss any future tutorials, make sure you click the like button, and then for this page, and then right next to that are three dots. Click that and hit the follow button. That way you should not miss any of our tutorials when we go live, which are generally Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific and then Thursday at 11 a.m. And then you can just do your math for your time zone and figure out where those should be. So YouTube subscribers, a little bit different for you. If you want to be notified when we drop a new video, just click the subscription bell in the upper right hand corner. This is from an earlier Facebook Live. So if you want to participate in an actual live, jump on over to Facebook on my Facebook page, Kat's Creations Wreaths, and then we can interact. But for those of you that want to get notified, just make sure you subscribe to my channel. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and pan you down. So give me just 1 second. I need to move my light. And I think, let's bring you back up so we can see measurements. And I think we're good right there. I don't know. There we go. Alrighty, so let me pull up your comments so I can actually address those with y'all. Okay, hi Cheryl, hi Joyce, hi Sally, all the way from England. Oh my, well thank you for joining us all the way across the pond. So, materials that you're going to need to make yours, and I have a feeling these will be super popular, especially closer to Halloween. So this is a 15.5 what's called a ring board, because it's got the hole in the center, and this is from Unique in the Creek. So for the people that live in Canada, you can go directly to uniqueinthecreek.com and order yours. Everybody else, craftoutlet.com is now carrying those, so if you cannot find them, try craftoutlet.com and try to pick those up. I know Hobby Lobby is starting to slowly stock the Unique in the Creek items, but I think right now it's just the large flower board, but hopefully coming soon will be the rest of their products. So you will have a local outlet to pick those up. What you will notice is that I have gone through and I have placed a 6-inch zip tie on each of the outside holes only, all the way around. We're going to be toggling back and forth to that center hole and either sharing it with what I call the outside hole, which would be these two. This would be the inside hole, which is those two. So it just kind of gives a different layered effect. So it helps if you have everything prepared ahead of time to go ahead and build it once you have all of your supplies done, which is what I did yesterday. So put your board together with your 6-inch zip ties. You can get those at Amazon. You can also get them at any of your home improvement stores. Hi, Peggy. Welcome. Hi, Arvina. Then you are going to need a cord. So I'm just using a simple braided cord to make my hanger. This is kind of going in conjunction with the color that we're going with today, which I found these on Amazon when I was looking for different color dragons. And I found the silver one. So I love the way that this one is detailed painting. So I felt that this really represented like the cold, icy kind of environment this particular dragon would find himself in. So he comes with the face, the tail, and let's see, got to put these in the right way. His wings. So we have wings, the face, and the tail. And this is a child's costume kit on Amazon. It just depends on who you order yours from. whether or not they have those available in stock, but I really love the way that this one is painted. We're going to be focusing on the face part of it first because we have to attach the eyes. So I'm going to move all the other pieces out of the way. Okay, so we have those. Then you're going to need a set of resin eyes. So we are kind of going with these teal color because this kind of, for me, feels a little bit like ice and snow. And you can order these from Amazon as well. I will be posting the links once this is finished. So it will be in the description box for the Facebook Live video and then in the description box below for the YouTube video. So give me just a minute after this video finishes to upload those so you can order them. And you get a whole bunch of them. These are the 25mm resin eyes. So this is what we're using. Thanks, Cheryl. Cheryl said cool eyes. Hi, Cheryl from Canada. Hi, Marilyn. Then, let's see, we've got that. Then you're going to need pieces of felt. So it's kind of whatever look you want for the dragon. So I was playing with these yesterday and just kind of looking, you know, at what look do I want. And let me kind of put that in place. Whether you want to put black behind the eyes, which that's normally what I've done with the green and the red. But since this is an ice dragon, kind of feel like, let me try to set that up. We're going to go with a white so that he has a little bit more of a frosty look. Hi, Val. Welcome. She says, I've yet to make one. Well, the great thing is there's tons of tutorials out there. So my goal in making this design is so that it fits in a shipping box. There are some people that are making them 36, 39 inches. That's just going to be one heck of a huge shipping charge. So mine is keeping things affordable and even putting it in a 24 by 24 by 6 inch box. It's still a little high on the shipping side, but it's more reasonable than double that shipping price. So we're going to prep our head, and then you're going to need as many colors as you want. You can go up to 3. I think you can even add 4. So the colors that we're using today are going to be this high premium Deco mesh. So as you can tell, these are the wide foil. This is from Joann's. I had this from last year. We're also going to come in with an iridescent. It's kind of got a rainbow hue to it. Gray. And then we're going to follow that up with a teal color. So this is why I'm like feeling that whole icy vibe going on. So these are the 3 colors match: Craft Outlet, and Joann's. So you will need 16 pieces of each color and cut to 10-inch pieces with a wood burning tool. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add our eyes into our dragon. And just to make things super easy, because generally what happens is you get them in place, they look really awesome, like once you finagle them in, and sometimes they're just slightly crooked. And then once you go to try to like orientate the eyes, then you find out that they're slightly crooked. Like that is slightly crooked. So we need to make sure that his eye is facing straight up and down. So sometimes it's kind of hard when you're working at it from the back end, and then as you flip it around, you're like, oh, now I turn it and then the eyeball pops out. So this is a tip that I have come up with, is to draw a line on the back, because we're focusing on placing this from the back side of our mask. So if you draw a line on the back side, this is what it looks like with no line drawn, then you can distinguish which way is, the way they need to be. So super simple. You're going to take a Sharpie in your hand, because I haven't done this one, and you're going to look at where's that point. So here's our slice. So I'm going to put that here, and I'm going to go to the other side and place that right there. And then I'm simply going to draw a line on the back side so that I can tell without having to keep flipping it over to the front, which side is up. And then what I've done is I've kind of taken the mask, it's a little thick around the eyes, is I've kind of put a little groove in it. And I always want to make sure that the black, if you notice this one has a black at the bottom, so I want the black at the bottom. And I'm going to go ahead and fit that in that little groove. And I did one in the top as well. We're going to flip that over and just make sure that it's in the right place, just like that one is. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So slide them in, kind of put them in their little grooves, flip them over. I did this one upside down. I meant to put the black at the bottom. So black at the bottom, Cat. This way. I had it turned around. In. And then go in your little groove. I want them to be perfect. So right there is giving us a really good dragon eye. That looks amazing. So I need to make sure those stay in place. So we're going to take our hot glue and I'm going to seal those in place, top and bottom. Right to the back. And then we are going to add, so right now there is no background into the eyes. It's like visible, like you can see my hand through the back. So again, you can choose whether you want a white background like this. See how it shows the white coming through? Or we can choose black coming through. So either way, I am going with white since this is our ice dragon. So this also helps create some support for our eyeballs. Let's get that one back in its little groove. There we go. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and glue this all the way around so it keeps our eyeball in place. It was already stuck from the glue that I had in there before. So there's that one. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. Although we don't need it quite that large. Okay, right inside. So this is the way it should have gone, all the way around the outside. Flip this back over. And then go ahead and seal that up. So now we have our eyes right with our dragon. So his eyes are all in place. Okay. So we're going to set that aside because we don't need that until we are finished. Do you guys have any questions at all about that? Lori says I've done 3, but I need to do this one. Love the eyes. And Cheryl says the eyes really make the face pop. That was kind of the whole deal. And I started off with a really dark blue because I really wanted to do like a dark blue scale, but it didn't go good with the color theme that I was looking at, so I chose to go with a more frostier blue. Jean Ann says, what size eyes did you use? I used the 25mm resin eyeballs. So let me show you how to make the petals. So in addition to your ring board, the Deco mesh, the costume, you'll need, for me, and not everybody uses them, I need either clothespins or like chip clips because I design each of my pieces to look like a dragon scale. I want it to have a point. I don't know if you've looked at other ones. Most of them are just kind of like the Deco mesh is kind of put into place. but I want them to stay to where they have like a point on them. That's like my big thing. So let me show you how we're going to make the pieces. So we have 10-inch Deco mesh. Okay, here's our finished edge up here. Hi Linda, welcome. And you're welcome, Jean. We're going to go from the corner here to the corner down below. And like you guys have heard me say before, if you're fighting your Deco mesh to try to get them to lay evenly, double check your measurements, because sometimes when we're cutting our Deco mesh, we don't realize that we're slightly off. Sometimes we could be off by 1/2 inch, and that'll really throw off all your measurements. So I'm just going to take this side. I'm just going to turn it on an angle. I'm going to take the top. And I'll put my hand here so it keeps the bottom in place. I'm going to go right to the top. Okay, and we're really focused on this corner. This is the point for our dragon scale. So it kind of looks like the little Star Trek logo. Okay, and then what we're going to do is same thing. I'm holding it to the middle and I'm folding it one more time. Okay, as you can see, it kind of naturally has a little scoop shape here. It almost looks like a shark fin. See, if we were to look at it like this, it's like a little shark fin. So from here, we're going to take our zip ties. I have the 6-inch zip ties, and I'm just going to put these in place right there, because I always want my cut end open. So I'm putting my zip ties so that they sit on the top. This way it helps me to know when I go to pick them up, look for the zip tie top, because then I know that my scales are going in the right direction. Then from here, this is normally what ends up happening, is it kind of almost does a little separation. So I want it to stay nice and tight. So this is where I come in with a little bit of glue, and I just lay a small little bead in there. Make sure all my pieces line up perfectly. Kind of smush that down so it goes through all 3 layers. And then we take a chip clip and we hold that in place so that that's all nice and set. And then it keeps my scales all together so they all look the way that I want them to. Okay, so just to show you how to do that again, this time we'll do the blue. We're taking a 10-inch piece of Deco mesh. We're turning it on the diagonal, finished side here. We're taking the top, bring it right down to the bottom. Okay, just try to get everything to line up as best as you can. Turn it to the side, place your hand in the center so that this stays in place. You're going to pick up one corner and go to the other corner. See, I let go of this end. Okay. And then make sure you kind of smash down your corner, because this is really where our emphasis is, to the center. Bring it over. Here's our little shark fin. We're going to place our zip tie right in here. Go ahead and cinch that down. Trim that off. And remember, we want to keep the little shark fin. So we're going to make sure this point stays there. It kind of has a nice little loop and swoopy right there. So a little bit of glue. Line up your pieces so the ends meet. And then I'm going to take another chip clip and just hold that for a minute until they dry. Any other questions you guys have? Jean Ann says, do you use a wood burner to cut your mesh? The answer is yes, I do. And that makes a world of difference. So I see a lot of people are doing it out of the poly burlap. I just kind of feel like dragons have to be more metallic, more shiny. So that's why I don't do mine in the poly deco mesh. Plus, even though you can cut your poly deco mesh with a wood burner tool, it has a tendency of fraying anyway. So here's our last piece of our silver. This is the Joann's mesh. It's a little thinner, but it still looks amazing. Top to bottom. Go ahead and line everything up to the sides and in the center, just to kind of keep those in place. Okay, we're going to fold it one more time, and you can tell it's already going to scoop. There's our shark fin. One more zip tie. And then I have like, I was like looking, did I cut enough of the blue? I'm hoping I did. I thought I did. I'm going to go ahead and glue this last piece. I have a couple more should people join later, because you know that generally happens. And everyone's like, how did you make your petals? So this is my dragon scale look. Let me just double check my petal count. 15. I think I need one more piece, so you guys might get to see a wood burning demo, because I need one more piece. So let's go ahead and show you how to do that. I thought I had all of my pieces. Turns out the only one I didn't check for color was the blue, to make sure I had enough. So let's cut that final piece, and then we can start putting everything together. So we want to pull this out to where it measures exactly 10 inches. I'm putting this part of my cutting board or cutting glass right on the 10-inch line. So when I pull my Deco mesh out, it's right at 10 inches. Here's my 20-inch mark. My wood burning tool is set to 425. So I'm just going to pick a column, and I'm going to stay in my column all the way down. Keep in mind that I haven't had this on very long, so I'm following my column, even as the Deco mesh kind of swishes and moves. But that's how you get your straight point. Okay, super simple. When it's super hot, it goes really fast. But if you just stay in your column all the way down, like cars on a traffic, then you won't have any issues. So again, corner to corner, 10-inch piece. Okay, folds really nice. I'm going to get that lined up, top to bottom. Okay, just like that. And then we're going to go fold to the middle again. Okay, nice and tight. Oops, trying to get those. Zip tie that together. Some people have asked, can you use rubber bands for this piece? I guess you could. I like using the zip ties because then it helps to keep them from sliding out. And what ends up happening if your rubber band breaks, I like making them more for long-term durability. So there we go. And now I'm just going to use a clothespin to hold this one. So those ones are going to go dry. And we're going to go ahead and put our board together. But the first thing we have to do is we have to put in our hanger. Jan said, will you have a replay available? Absolutely. As soon as this finishes, it automatically goes into replay. Okay, so I am using this 1/8 inch silver braided cord. So I am just, there's 2 holes in the top of your ring board that are for your hanger. Okay, so I'm going to go up, should go in one side and up the other side. Okay. Because I want my knot to be on the inside. We'll go ahead and cut this. Of course, it's going to spiral just like that. So before it gets way out of control, I'm going to take a little bit of light glue. I am going to twist that so that it'll dry and not continue to come undone. So we're going to go, trying to get the glue off my fingers. We're going to go right over left. So right over left, and then left over right. Okay. Go ahead and knot that. Makes for a really nice tight knot so that when this pulls down, we have our hanger. So it's always important to put the hanger in because sometimes we forget. And then once you have all of your mesh pieces in, you're like, oh my word, it's really hard to squeeze that in. Yes. So add your hanger first and then prep your eyes and then you're all good to go. Okay. Now we're going to put all of our pieces in. So remember how I said that the open end is going to be the inside piece? So we're going to go ahead and start here. And I'm just going to slide my piece in. And this is where the zip tie comes into play. I want my zip tie to go just above that. And I'm going to go ahead and cut that off nice and tight. But now this prevents it from being pulled out. So if the customer wants to fluff or realign, because these will go, there's quite a bit of movement in them. So depending upon what look you like, you could readjust those. But this prevents that piece from pulling out. Then we're going to take our other piece. This is that heavy banded solid silver. And we're going to do the same thing here. All the scales face the same direction. Okay, so there's our first two. And then we're going to take the iridescent rainbow piece and that's going to sit right on the top. So this one, we're going to do the shared holes. So we're going to grab the one here next to the blue. And then we're coming up through the center. Get that started just a little bit. Make sure your scales are all going in the same direction. Okay, nice and tight. So for the middle, we're going to alternate. They're either going to go here or slightly over to the side. So it's a very small, minimal movement, but as we go around, it makes for a great effect. So now here, because we have our blue, we can actually pull that blue right in here and just make that an extra solid, good quality product. So again, inside, we'll add our outside piece. Just going in here. Make sure it goes the same way. This is why that zip tie is facing up. So if I don't see the zip tie head, I know that I have my petal put on backwards or upside down. And then now we're going to, we shared the inside hole close to the blue. Now we're going to do that shared hole on the outside closer to the silver. So that's the only difference that I have going all the way around. So this, for me, just gives it a frosty, icy kind of look, which is what I wanted for this particular dragon. Okay. This one again, we can take and put the inside piece inside. So this is going to be the belly color. So it kind of has a little icy blue underside. And then our outside silver piece. And then we're sharing the hole to the outside. So this one is going outside. And I'm going to go ahead and grab that knot to keep the knot on the inside. Right over the lap. What do you guys think of the colors? I like the inside one because this is a rainbow color. When it hits the sun, it's just how you turn it. It creates a rainbow effect. Here we go. There's that one. See, we can always constantly keep gathering these into our previous pipe cleaners, just to, or zip ties, just to help reinforce, you know, a really good solid quality product. So we went outside, so we're going inside. And if you want to cut the little ends off, you can, but I feel like this helps you cover the base of your board really well. Right, Cheryl? She says, I love these colors. They go really good together. I do too. And that's kind of where I went with that. I really tried hard to match his eyes to the color of the mesh. And I had a dark blue, but it just wasn't, it didn't feel like it was saying ice. It felt more like water. And this one got skipped. This must have been one of my pieces I didn't finish. So let's go ahead and get that in place. Let that one dry. So we're going to move these to the inside. And then we're going to the outside hole. So that'll allow us to capture that inside piece, right? Yes. I always check. That's the nice thing, is you can pull it up, the previous piece, and see, hey, what did we do? Okay. And see, this is what I'm saying is, as a customer, you have a choice of pulling out your scales more to the inside, more to the outside. I keep them closer in so that they ship nicer, but you can fan them out when you get them to create a more full look. Like, because once it goes on your door, you don't have to worry about like what the width is, because you're not shipping it at that point. So we're going to go all the way through. Grab our silver. And then to the inside. See, so the middle one is really coming in to cover this gap in here. That's what the middle does. And rainbow. And I've had a lot of silver mesh, but it's just like, silver is hard to kind of figure out, hey, where am I going to use that? Blue. blue back in the center, right in there. So this particular wreath is currently already available on my website only. I'm using 3 different colors, Karen. I'm using a solid silver that's like this, and I'm also using a gray iridescent. So they're actually 2 different color grays. So one's a little heavier metallic, the other's got more of a whatchamacallit, a rainbow hue. Okay. So we'll go ahead and put this in, tuck our insides in. So let me pin the website. Hold on. Can't type. Okay, anytime you want to pin. There we go. So there's the website for those of you that may want to purchase this one. It's the only one I am making. So once these 3 are gone, well, the red already sold out. We shall wait and see about the green. And I've had a lot of people that I've already shown this to, friends and families, that like the color combination on this one. So go ahead and place that on the inside. And our silver. There we go. Trying to get the zip tie out. And our gray, we're going to the inside. So it feels like there's only 2 colors, but they're just, you have a rainbow silver and then a solid metallic silver. So you can see how quick it goes. Okay. Don't need the black felt. Let's put this inside. And then we're going to do our rainbow to the outside. So don't these look like, I love the colors on these. They're just so spectacular. I'm always trying to make sure that my blue stays solid all the way through, so that we have blue all the way through. This was the one that Steve liked. This was his, he liked the colors on this one. going inside. So what I mean inside is I'm using the shared hole for the inside piece and the middle. And then the outside is the outside shared hole in the middle. And our blue. We're getting there. Okay. Our silver. Thank you, Blanche. She says, great color combo. I try. So this one will not be breathing fire. This one will be breathing ice. Like the other previous ones were fire breathers. Okay, slide that back in. Tuck this back in. Flip it over. And this will be shared inside. Keep the blue all lining up so we don't have any silver kind of tuck in between the two. We can also move the silver out. There we go. We just have 4 more rows and then we're ready to attach all the pieces to make this a complete dragon. There we go. Inside. No, this one's an outside piece. Oh, I need to turn my zip tie around. Had that the wrong way. Bev says, also a silent watcher. Great soft colors for younger children. That's what I had to do for my grandson's dragon. I had to use different eyes that weren't scary. That is awesome. I agree. And they have ones that are more round. Let's see. Let me look for my little dragon eyes. So these are how they come. These ones are the 30 millimeter. But you can see how they have the more round eyes. So these will be less scary versus the ones that are more of a slit. So it just depends on what look you're going for. My dragon was from Amazon. So I will post the link for this exact one once I go into replay. and I'll link that this exact one that I purchased. Because there's some that I've noticed, depending upon which website or which buyer you buy from on Amazon, sometimes it's not a two-tone dragon costume. It's just very flat. And those are the cheaper ones. So I like the more of an airbrush look. Okay, and now we need to go inside. I need to get rid of all my little pieces that I let pile up. Inside piece. Okay. There we go. And let me make 2 more scales, because I need 2 more. But I already have the Deco mesh cut. So let me show you how to do that one more time. Really super quick. So you're going to take your 10-inch piece of Deco mesh cut with a wood burning tool. You're going to go from corner to corner. I think this one's cut slightly odd, because see, this is what I'm saying. So see how this is fighting? So if I look, this is only a 9-inch piece. So we're going to have to cut that one too. Let's make sure. That's 10. Corner to corner. See how it just, I don't have to fight that. It just goes perfectly into the shape that it's supposed to. But the other one didn't want to play. So somehow that got cut on a diagonal. That was probably the very first piece I cut. And shame on me for not putting a clean cut on that. And just assuming, hey. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even show you guys how to do that. Okay, let me go ahead and just tack this one down. Okay, get that one to stay. Let me get the iridescent one. So, we need to cut one more piece. Because as hard as I would try to get that to go into place, it would turn out to be a really bad, a bad piece to try to get in place. So this is what I'm saying. Trying to go here to here. So see how there's so much of an overlap here? Like this is the edge, and then same thing's happening on here. This tells me the piece is not squared. So it wouldn't matter if I tried to do here to here. You're just going to get this really ugly piece. So we have so much overhang here. So I don't have a clean look here compared to this one. We have a slop. So I like everything to be clean. So we'll be tossing that one in the trash. So really super simple. My wood burning tool is set to 425 degrees because that's the one that just works perfectly. So always make sure that your edge meets up. Let's go ahead and put a clean cut on this. Even though it feels like there's a clean cut, stay in our column all the way down. We're in that no passing lane on the freeway. So there's a clean cut. Oh, we have a perfect shape. Here is my 20 inches at the end. Same thing, stay in your lane all the way down. Okay, let's make sure we have a clean cut. Yes, so now you see it's got that perfect when you pull it corner to corner. If it doesn't come out perfect, check your measurements. So I'm kind of glad it happened because you guys get to see, hey, how come my piece won't square up? It's because it's not square. So we need 10 by 10. So finished edge, turn it to this side, go corner to corner, and now see all of your edges line up. So you don't have to fight it so hard. We're going to take our corner, bring it to the corner. Okay, make sure this is nice and straight. Focus on your corner up here. Go from here to here. Nice little shark fin and no overhang. Some people may not care to be that particular because you're like, well, I'm not going to really see it anyway. It's going to be overlapped by all the other ones. For me, I know it's there. So I can't, in good faith, turn out a product that is less than what I would want. So now I don't like how it's open. I like to keep them closed. And I also like to keep them very lined up. So I just use a little dab of hot glue because that'll go through all those layers. Just like so. Take our little chip clip and hold that in place. And now we're done with that one. Okay, now we can go back and finish this. And I have all my pieces now. Okay. Right inside. Tuck this one in. This would make a pretty wreath all on its own. Like if you did this, the colors of the rays of the sun, this would look really nice to have as a sun. And then we're going outside for our center. So we're going to use shared hole from here to here. Go ahead and tuck that piece in. It's getting a little snug. We're like down to the last piece. So we're going to kind of have to push the other ones preceding kind of up and out of the way so that we can get on our last piece. Put our blue in. Get it past the zip tie so it cannot come out. And then we have our silver. So I'm going to push those in. Tackle this one and flip it. Again, nice and tight. Last piece. This is going to the inside. There we go. Okay. See how that forms nice and smooth. I'm just making sure all of my previous scales are pulled up so I can get those ends to lay underneath them. And now we can take the preceding ones and get them all lined up. So there is the finished product. Where am I seeing that? This. So we have all that blue going on the inside. Then we have the rainbow and then the very outside metallic. And so now look what happens when we take our dragon. I actually like him on this side, I think. So that's the look he's going to have, is a little bit more icy looking. So I think the colors we picked out for his eyes kind of really play to the blue here. So now what we're going to do before we attach, we put his the face on last. Carrie says I do a lot of projects at 9-inch. So when I do flowers, I always have to double check if 10 inches. Exactly. Okay. All right. So the way that the wings come, let me just set this to the side. The way that the wings come is they are sewn into this piece. So this piece would actually be on the back, like so. This is sewn onto the back so that, you know, as a child's costumes, the kids can put their arms through and wear them. I take those completely off because I don't want any of that. So what I do is, let me grab another ring board to show you. So these are the way the wings face. You should have the points facing up, and these little knobs down here are at the bottom. So you're going to take those and you're going to line them up right with your two holes. So the two holes are actually going to fit right on top of here. Okay. It's dependent. Like people have taken their Unique in the Creek boards, cut them in half, and that's where you get the S-shaped dragon. That's how they do that. Obviously that would not fit in a box for me. And then you can decide, do you want, do you want your wings a little higher? What ends up having to be the problem is you need a bigger piece for this. So you need to make sure that the meat part, see, right when we get into down here, it becomes too thin for that to line up. So you need to almost go a little bit higher. But you don't have to go super high. I mean, you could if you wanted to. But I think I had mine right about here. And I just took a Sharpie marker, wherever my Sharpie marker is. And I basically drew on the outside of my color. Okay. And then what I did it from the other side. You can see them more clearly this way. Is I took my wood burning tool like so, and I lined up those holes and went directly all the way through that thick foam. So I did it here, and then because I need my wings to stay together, I did one a little bit lower so that those will get zip tied together to keep the wings from flapping individually. And so you'll need a big zip tie for this. So I'm going to go down inside this one and then up the other side. And when you do your wood burning tool to cut through your foam, please, I caution you, do it in a well ventilated space because it puts off some fumes that are probably not healthy to breathe in. Let's get that one too. It still feels a little melty. There we go. Nice and tight. It keeps the wings together. And then now, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking my zip ties and I'm going to go up through. Let me flip them this way Sometimes it's easier to find them. There's one zip tie. Here's the other. And then this is where they'll zip tie onto the board. Okay. So I'm going to flip this over. So remember right where our hanger is? That's where we're going to line up. I'm just basically doing, so you can see it from here. I'm basically just lining up, because remember all my scales are in place. I'm lining them up right here, and then I'm going to zip tie them directly onto my frame. Okay? So that's what you can't see, because all the scales are in the place. So I'm finding right here, this is where that's going to line up. So you kind of have to finagle a whole bunch of stuff. You got to finagle your hanger. Got to get them both in there at the same time. Okay. They never want to cooperate at the same time. Okay, where are you? You were in there. Okay, I have them. So now I'm going to grab the tops to my bottoms. And I am cinching those bad boys on. Nice and tight. Oop. There we go. So this is the look right now. So wings are now attached. Okay. Then we're going to go ahead. The tail it's on its own. Like, I really wish that they would have put wire in here, because I like the look of the tail. If it were to, it's going to be kind of hard to see it all in one picture. If the tail kind of swooped around like this, Steve was like, well, what if we put wire inside? And I'm like, you had to see how hard it was. It's not that hard to get it to go through with a wood burning tool to a thin diameter, but I cannot imagine trying to run a wire all the way through. I guess you could, if you wanted to, you could wire it, but how you attach the tail, let me go ahead and move this. There's like a fray right here. So I'm going to remove that. There we go. This drives me crazy. We need to add a zip tie that this is going to, if you can see, it's got a little clip. So this clip, if you pull it out a little further, this clip would be slided in the back of a child's pants pocket, and then you have your dragon tail. Well, we need a way to be able to attach it here. So what you're going to do is figure out where you want to place your dragon tail. And it's funny because I'll see people who put their dragon tail like this, which is the wrong way, because the scales here, right, that was our shark fin we were trying to replicate, can't be on the inside. It has to be on the outside. That is correct, so that our scales are to the outside. Okay, so you need to make sure it's going in the right direction. So this is what I'm saying. This would look beautiful if we could find it done like this. So what you're going to need to do is, I like mine kind of up a little bit high like this. This is the look that I'm going for. So you're going to need another large zip tie. And you're going to need to create a vertical, and I'll show you this on, as soon as I can find it here. You're going to have to find a vertical hanger, because I have my pipe cleaner going the wrong way. So let me go inside and try to find it. There we go. And I'll show you on the open frame how you want to have it. So then this way, the tail kind of hooks and hangs from the wreath. So it'll hang straight down. This is where I was saying I really would like it to be able to go like a loop and swoop, because I just think that looks so good. I guess if you were the customer, you could take a wire hanger, attach it to the back, and get it to go in like manner if you'd like. But that's how we attach the tail. So how did Cat attach the tail? Let's do it here. All I did is I went from one spot here. So let me get it to go up. I worked on the outside. So go down through one, up through another. Okay, create a hanger, because remember it fits into a boy's pants pocket so that it hangs from the hanger. So that is the way the tail hangs. And you can just push this back down because I bent it out to show you. And then that is how it gets shipped. It gets shipped with the tail removed so that we keep it in the box. But what I'll do for customers is I will pin a little note that says, hey, insert tail here, so that they know to take this, slide it under, and then their tail is attached. Okay? And then the last thing we want to do is attach our head. So it came with like the mask shape. I just utilize that since it's already riveted into the mask. I just take this, we're going to kind of bend it into whatever shape we want. I like it to kind of be a little bit more 3D-ish. And then we're just going to tie that to the back of the frame. Nice and tight. Oops. There we go. And then make sure your head is positioned where you want it to be. So let me flip this around for you so you can see. I think maybe his head needs to go a little higher. I think I want his head a little higher. I don't know. What do you guys think? So that's how he's sitting right now. I don't know if I want his head a little bit higher, like bring it up here. Would you show the back? Absolutely, Judy. This is the back right now. So the back is completely smooth. We have our dragon zip tie down here. I try whenever I put my embellishments on, I like it to where if the customer wants to remove anything, like they could totally take the face, they can move the face to the center. I've seen people who have taken their dragon and placed it here, which is, it's an option you have. Let's try to add him more here. This is kind of where I'm feeling his head needs to go, right? Right about there. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the straps. And you saw how easy it was for me to move that. I'm going to take, I just do it in a nice little square knot so that it's easy to take off and easy to put back on. And you can even make him to where his head goes on the left side, if that's your preference. So, okay. There we go. I think that looks much better, right? Okay, so he's an ice dragon. So, he doesn't breathe fire. He breathes ice. So, in order to make that look right, and again, I try not to make things permanent in case someone just wants it like this. They don't want the whole icy thing going out of his mouth. But let me show you how you add your flames. I'm going to take his tail off for now, because it's just rolling around. Okay. You're going to need a 10 by 10 piece. And this one does not have to be squared. but you're going to, let me push this off to the side. You're going to do it on the diagonal, and you're just going to roll your Deco mesh. Okay. And we kind of don't want it to be perfectly uniform, so, you know, have one that's a little bit longer than the other. I have some other ones that I've already pre-formed right here. So let's kind of make that overlap, those two. I'm kind of taking them like this and just making them flat. I have blue, so we can put blue in the middle. Again, go short and long, so that when we go to scrunch them all together, zip tie. Everything's a zip tie. Zip tied all together. Then we have it to where this is his flames or his ice breath. And I usually leave this unattached so that if they don't want it in there, they can take it out. But it just kind of tucks under the little concave part of his mouth. Just like so. And then you have your dragon who breathes your snow and ice. So he's just a little bit different. And you could add more to it. You could add, you know, if you wanted more white in there, you can come back in and add, you know, more. I'd have to pull that one apart, but you can add even more. And you can just kind of play with the different colors you have in there. I try to make it as full as possible, right? Okay, so let me show you what it looks like on the door. I'm going to take the extra piece out for now. I'm going to keep these very tight. So I'm going to go ahead and let me take this other wreath down so you can see what it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and pivot you up, and then we'll go ahead and put everything together. Let me make sure or you have door height here. Okay, so this is how he's going to go. Hold on a second. I have his hanger's under the wings, so I've got to pull his hanger out. So look, here's his little hanger right here. There's the hanger. So that's going to go right here. Okay. So again, you can pull these out. So look at how we can, you can make him a little bit fluffier if you'd like. This is what I'm saying, is you have the ability to change the look just simply by pulling in or pulling out your, this one's underneath, under our dragon. And the same thing, you could do the same thing for the middle. You can bring these a little closer to the middle. There we go. Like so. Let's add his flames. I think he's centered. Okay, here's his flames. Okay. And then let's add his tail. Remember, spikes go to the outside. There is his hanger. And there is. I'm trying to get him to go all the way back on the hanger. There is our dragon. What does his head feel crooked? There we go. Let's get that going. I think that's straight, right? I think I fixed it. Pamela, Dragon Parts. It's a costume. It's a kid's costume. So when this goes to replay on Facebook, I'll go in and add the link to this exact costume. Because like I said, there are two different types that I've seen, and it varies from seller to seller. There's one that'll just paint it like a flat color, like all silver. And what you want is you kind of want the airbrush details. You want the, you know, you kind of want a two-tone look happening so that, I'm still looking at this. There we go. So that you get that depth going into the general idea. So again, this is where I was saying I really wish it could do this because I kind of like it keeping it all, you know, kind of close here. I guess you could, if you wanted to, you could zip tie something here and zip tie it to the bottom, but it just doesn't. I wish it was more posable, I guess is the word. But I guess if you have it, you can do whatever it is you want. And I'm looking at his wingtips because that's how I'm determining where is center for him. So there he is. So I will post everything for you guys. I will post the links to the correct size eyes. I will post the exact link for where to order this particular dragon costume. Right? I guess you could. Tara says you could use fishing line. Yeah, you could. But I leave it so that the customer could figure out, hey, if I want to do this, this is the way that I would do it. But for shipping purposes, I have to ship it without the tail in it. So the tail just is laid in the box. Right? Exactly, Gloria. Gloria said the same thing. You could use fishing tail or fishing line to hang the tail and not really see it. I just love it. Like I said, you have two different looks. You can have it without the flames or the frost flames, whatever you want to call it. Or you could just put them in and out. So the customer has a couple different looks because like I said, these will stay perfectly just kind of in that concave shape inside his mouth. Then it just kind of tucks up under there. Gretchen, mine ship in a 24 by 24 by 6-inch box. I would love, it'd be really hard to figure out a way to get this to fit on a storm door. I guess, let me look. If we take a ruler, most storm doors are 4 inches. I guess if you had it on a storm door and pushed the door closed, it's about, like right now, it's like 5 inches. But I think if you wanted to compress it and make it flat, because all of this stuff could be compressed, you could get it to fit inside a storm door. If the dimensions between your storm door are about 4 inches. So there's that. So I hope you guys love this. This is my personal favorite because I like the little icy look, right? Deb says he sold all mine. Thank you. So yeah, he's sold. So there is not another one like him. So the green one is still available. The red sold out. And if you have a particular color combination you'd like I have people saying, oh, I'd like to see you do a purple one, or I'd like to see you do a blue one. If you want one, then just for you, just message me and let me know, hey, I want a gold one, or I would like another red one, or whatever. I'd be happy to create them for you. It just gets really hard to keep ordering kits and then making them, and then you're always praying that they sell. So I'm glad that he did. I'm going to miss him, but glad that he's going to go visit Deb in her home. All right, everyone. Well, thanks for joining me, and I will talk to you real soon. Bye for now, everyone. This will go on replay right when I finish. Bye for now.